This is Jennifer Bolton with my Technology Infused Assessment module. My perception of ELL students prior to and after taking this class. My perceptions of ELL students and their needs prior to taking this class. Before taking this class, I thought I needed to be able to speak Spanish to be an ESL teacher and that I wouldn't have the resources or ability to give quality instruction to all the students in the classroom. Perceptions of ELL students and their needs since taking this class. Since taking this class, I've learned that I don't need to be fluent in Spanish, but that I can use different teaching strategies for instructional content, providing a welcoming classroom will promote active learning. 5 misconceptions about working with ELL students. Misconception 1, bilingual and ESL education are the same thing. Bilingual and ESL programs are different. Bilingual programs use L1 and L2 for instruction. Transitional programs move students into an English-only classroom after a few years of schooling. Developmental programs use L1 and L2 instruction throughout in 50-50, 90-10 programs. There are 2 ESL modules pull-out programs. Give L1 instruction in language arts only. Sheltered instruction programs provide L2 development through instructional content in all subjects and through collaborative group work. Misconception 2. Once an ELL understands English, they will be successful in an English-only classroom. Just because an ELL can communicate, that doesn't mean they will be successful in an English-only classroom. BICS is basic conversational language that allows people to communicate and can be developed within a few years. CALP, however, is more advanced language that is used in an academic setting and takes much more time to develop. Misconception number 3, it is easy for ELL students to learn a second language. It's hard to learn a second language. L2 acquisition can be affected by several factors. These include language use at school, past educational experiences, socioeconomic status, L1 underdevelopment due to exposure to trauma, length of residency in the U.S., and stereotyping or loss of cultural identity. A better developed L1 can make for easier L2 acquisition. Misconception number 4, all ELL students are immigrants. Most of all, ELL students are native-born U.S. citizens and are not immigrants. An ELL is merely someone whose primary language is not English and their English skills create difficulties in performing ordinary classwork in English. Misconception number 5, younger children learn second languages easier. Older children learn L2s easier. L1 proficiency greatly assists in developing L2. 5 critical concepts and theories. The PRISM model shows the relationship between 4 components that affect L1 and L2 acquisition. Sociocultural processes, language development, academic development, and cognitive development are components that influence L1 and L2 acquisition in school setting. Create supportive classroom environment for the student to further develop L1 and L2. Concept number 2, Krashen's hypothesis. Krashen's effective filter and input hypothesis both relate to L2 acquisition. The higher the effective filter is for an ELL student, the less successful L2 acquisition will be. The input hypothesis states that L2 proficiency will be developed when instructional content is delivered at a level just beyond their current comprehension level. Concept number 3, passive and active learning. Passive learning is ineffective for ELL students. It involves tasks that do not require student responses or student engagement. Active learning requires student participation and engagement in instruction through collaborative group work. Cooperative learning and critical pedagogy are both critical components of active learning. Concept number 4, sheltered instruction. Sheltered instruction is the most effective method of instruction where the students are learning academic content in English simultaneously. Core content is delivered to ELL students in L2 and the teacher's use of a variety of teaching strategies. Concept number 5, zone proximal development. Things the ELL student cannot do even with assistance. Things that the ELL student can do only with assistance. Zone of proximal development. Things the ELL student can do without assistance. Vygotsky's believed learning was a social activity. Learning and intellectual development are best achieved with a collaborative setting and can be encourage an environment that allows for collaboration and have scaffold instruction that is challenging to the students. 10 takeaway recommendations for ELL teachers. Encourage students to read in L1 to better develop their L1. It will positively affect L2 development. Use hand gestures and visual cues to assist ELL students' understanding. Use your students' cultures in your instructional content. ELL students will be motivated by being familiar with the subject matter. Expect success from your ELL student and don't lower your expectations for them. Be encouraging and support their development. Don't be impatient. Give the ELL students additional time to process information, to complete assignments, and to answer questions. Don't make homogeneous groups of students. Mix the groups so that there are students with different communication and learning levels. Use visual aids in engaging hands-on activities. These enhance the learning process and provide additional support to the ELL student. Give written and oral instruction to your ELL students. There is a less chance for misunderstanding. It may be helpful to even give instructions in their L1. Focus on the teaching process and remember that each student has a different learning pace. Remember to challenge your students for continued development. Each ELL student is different and has a unique cultural background, learning level, and familiarity in development of their native language and of English.